These billionaires, man. Billionaire investor Bill Ackman says President Biden should step aside, adding he was impressed by Representative Dean Phillips, who launched a long shot primary challenge to Biden last month. I think Biden's done a lot of good things, but I think his legacy will not be a good one if he is the nominee, Ackman said in an interview with Bloomberg Television, the David Rubenstein show, peer to peer conversations. I do think the right thing for Biden to do is step aside and to say he's not going to run and create the opportunity to for some competition. Ackman, the founder of Pershing Square Capital Management, told Bloomberg Television he recently met with Phillips and was impressed by Democratic lawmaker. You need to be at your intellectual best, and I don't think Biden is there, Ackman said. I don't say that, with any derision of the president, but I think he's clearly past his physical and cognitive peak. Ackman, who reportedly has a history of donating to Democrats, told Bloomberg Television he's creating much more. He is much more open to Republican candidates over re-electing Biden. He said he is supportive of both former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie. Bloomberg reported Ackman donated to biotech entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, but said he was disappointed with his geopolitical policies. He has just been a little too far off to the right, Ackman said. The Biden campaign has faced repeated criticism over the president's agent's ability to carry out a second term. At 81, Biden is the oldest U.S. president if reelected. In 2024, he would be 86 at the end of his second term. Phillips launched his presidential bid last month, saying he is not running in opposition to the president, but rather to urge him to pass the torch to a new generation. A Yahoo News / YouGov poll from earlier this month revealed that while more than half of Democrats want to see another Democrat challenge Biden, the incumbent still maintained a comfortable lead, with 64% saying they would back him. Earlier this month, former President Obama's senior advisor David Axelrod drew attention when he appeared to suggest Biden should step aside. He later said he is not concerned about poor polling numbers with the election still months away, and later argued the president has a 50-50 shot of winning in 2024. As for Ackman's political future, he appeared open to the prospect. The country wanted me at some point. I'd be open to it, Ackman told Bloomberg. It's something where the country would have to ask me as opposed to me putting myself out there. Ackman's full interview with Bloomberg Television will be released on December 6th. I hope Ackman doesn't run for anything, including dog catcher. We need less and less very obscenely rich people running for office. That's one of the reasons why so many lawmakers are out of touch with the concerns of their constituents or the people that they're, supposed to be representing. I mean, if, for example, Congress was filled with, and again, this is not counting all the donor shenanigans with Citizens United, but if you had members of Congress where a majority of them were people that were like 30, 40, who grew up in this era with ridiculous sums of money being needed just to go to college, you probably would see more attention being paid to the need for that to go down, for the amount of schooling to be more affordable, or to not be thousands and thousands of dollars that you're asking oftentimes a person who's never worked or barely worked to pay at all. But it's just we've talked before about how Congress is filled with these fossils and people that don't have any empathy because they haven't been through it. To address the substance of Ackman's points, I think Biden's done a lot of good things. Well, are you sure? Because if you're donating to someone like Christie or Haley, who, I mean, if you listen to either one of them talk, they treat Biden as if he's the Antichrist, right? You had Haley lambasting Biden for being the most pro-union president, for example. What is Ackman's ideology? If he thinks Biden's done a good job, but then he's also donating or open to supporting pretty much every Republican still in the race, with that's like polling in uh, anywhere from 5 to even more percent besides DeSantis and Trump. Like what good things has Biden done? It's just generic nebulous talk. But I think his legacy will not be a good one if he is the nominee. Well, whether he's the nominee or not, the supposed good things that you're describing will not have been erased by virtue of him not winning a second term. I do think the right thing for Biden to do is step aside and to say he's not going to run. Well, he's already announced his campaign. I mean, I guess he could suspend it if he wanted to, but I don't see where someone who's wanted to be president their whole life is going to say, well, I got my 4 years, I could have another four, but I don't think so. Create the opportunity for some competition. See, this is why I hate these billionaires. Okay, Marianne Williamson has been running since what, March, and the DNC has refused to hold debates back when it was her, RFK Jr. before RFK Jr. decided to be independent, and Biden in the race. So you would think if Ackman wants to see some competition, he would say, "Hey, look, Democratic Party, I'll donate whatever amount. Just have a debate. Have Biden show up. Have the candidates actually articulate their points. Let's get this primary process started, even if it is kind of late. But regardless, let's actually show some attempt at making it seem as if we care about having a democracy." But he doesn't do that. He doesn't tell them, you can't just sit here and hide him away in a basement for, until next year, and I'm supposed to support him and want him to have another term. So when he said step aside, I was thinking, oh, maybe that's the angle he's going to push. No, it's just more age stuff. And I mean, what is again, a perfect opportunity for one of these just extremely wealthy people to actually do something useful, and they don't. He said Ramaswamy is just a little too far off to the right. I mean, does he not remember that Christie wanted to cut Social Security? That you have Haley talking about raising the retirement age? As people's lifespans are decreasing, she wants it to be an even longer amount of time that someone works. Man, so we discussed this before. I personally would rather have someone else as Democratic nominee than Biden, mainly for age. And I understand by continuity of government, the one-term presidents almost always run for another term if they can. But I just think because of how old he is, it's going to dissuade some people from supporting him, as well as the fact that Harris herself is not really seen as this very capable successor that could just jump into the role. Whereas if you went back to the Obama years, Biden was seen as that. If something happens to Obama, you got this 30 plus year senator who's competent enough to take the reins. But it's crazy to me that you have this wacky guy with all this money. He wants Biden to step aside. He wants competition, but he's not going to call for more debates. He's not going to call for more forms that show off all of the major candidates, the president included. So it's just more worthless talk. He has the money to influence this stuff, but he's not going to do it in any way that's actually positive for the Democratic Party or even for democracy itself. I mean, you're donating to. It's just well, actually, I should say this. You're talking about not wanting to see Biden get reelected, even though he's done some good things, but then also backing people who are antithetical to the good things that he supposed that we would think you were talking about when you say good things. It's just goofy.